Today we're going to explore congruent figures in terms of transformations. Congruent figures are figures that have the same size and the same shape. I like to say they're identical twins. If the angle has the same amount and the size of the leg or the side of the figure has the same amount, they're the same exact size. When they have matching angles, such as angles B and E, they are called corresponding angles. The same thing goes with sides. The matching sides of AC and DF, they are identical to each other, so they're also corresponding. In the following examples, we have to name the corresponding angles and sides. The figures are already known as congruent, so we know that they're identical twins. We just have to match what angles and sides go together. I'll do a couple with the first one, then move on to the second one. For the first one, congruent angles, we have angle A, and that's congruent with angle W. They're the same exact angle. Now the smallest angle on both shapes are angles B and X. Make sure you put the angle sign when you guys are writing these answers. I'll have you guys do the last two on your own. In terms of congruent sides, I'm going to go with the longest side, and that is side AB. To write that, you write AB with a line above it. And the congruent side to that, on the other shape, is WX. Since there are 4 sides to the shapes, you must find 4 congruent sides. I've done one for you. On the next example, we have the figures that have rotated or flipped. They've reflected even. And we have to find the corresponding angles to those. I'll start you off with a couple. The corresponding angle to angle M is actually the mirror image of itself, right here at angle V. Do you guys see how the shapes have rotated and flipped so that they are now mirror images of themselves? So I'm going to jump over to angle J. The corresponding angle to angle J is angle S because they're the smallest angle in the shapes. I think you guys can figure out the next 3. In terms of the congruent sides, the congruent side for KL, remember that you put that line above it, is RQ. I think you guys can try to find the other 4 congruent sides on your own. In these examples, we have to explain which square is congruent to the given square. So square A, what square is congruent to it? Well, we know that congruent figures have the exact same size and shape. So it's pretty easy to tell that square C is congruent to square A. Yes, it is rotated and it looks like a diamond, but the side lengths are the same. Square B has side lengths of 9, which is not congruent or identical to square A. Go ahead and try the second problem where it talks about square D on your own. Now we're going to use congruent figures to find the answers for different questions. The trapezoids of ABCD and JCLM are congruent. What is the length of side JM? So if JM is right here, we need to find the corresponding side from the first polygon. I can see that the longest side of the first polygon is side AD, which is 10 feet. Because it's corresponding sides, that means that JM is also 10 feet because they are congruent or the same. Figuring out the perimeter of JKLM only means that you have to find the perimeter of the first shape and then transfer it over to the second. That's because they're congruent. Again, they're identical twins. Go ahead and add up the sides and put the answer down. Go ahead and also answer the angle of JKLM that corresponds to angle C. Angle C is corresponding to another angle on the other polygon. Try to also figure out what the length of side KJ is. It's the same situation in which we did for question A. At the bottom is a little review of what we've learned today. Try the questions on your own and star something if you have questions.